At the inheritance meeting in our family home in Tampa, my older brother Ryan stood up like he owned the room, tapped his glass and announced with the biggest grin, Mom and Dad decided to leave all 8 rental properties in Florida to me. Tegan, sorry you get nothing. The room exploded. Cheers, whistles, someone even shouted. Finally, cousins clapped him on the back. His fiancée, Brooke, beamed like she'd just won the lottery, and Mom dabbed her eyes with that proud little tear. I didn't clap. I didn't even blink. I just looked straight at Dad and said, calm as ever, Dad, you forgot one thing, didn't you? His fork froze halfway to his mouth. Ryan's smile vanished. Brooke stopped mid-sip. 30 people suddenly went dead silent. You could hear the AC humming. And in that single second, every single person in that room knew the script they'd rehearsed for months was about to burn. Before I tell you exactly what my dad forgot and how the rest of that afternoon turned the whole family upside down, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from tonight. I always like knowing I'm not the only one who sat at a table full of people who swore they loved you right before they showed you what they really think. Hit that like button if you've ever had to smile while your entire family cheered for your downfall. Because trust me, what happened next made every single one of them regret clapping so fast. Now let me take you back to how we got here. My name is Tegan Whitaker, and if you'd met my family before that inheritance meeting, you'd probably have thought we were the perfect Florida success story. Big house in South Tampa, boats in the driveway, Christmas card smiles every December. But those pictures never showed the quiet hierarchy that ruled everything behind closed doors. Ryan has always been the son everyone orbited around. From the moment he came home from the hospital, people noticed him. First listened to him longest, forgave him fastest. Little league coach, high school quarterback, the son who stayed local and helped manage Grandma Margaret's rental properties the second he graduated. Every family barbecue ended with someone slapping his back telling him he was the future of the Whitaker name. He soaked it up like it was oxygen. I learned early that I lived in the shade he cast. Teachers mixed up our names until Ryan corrected them with a laugh. Birthdays meant his cake first, his gifts opened loudest, his stories retold at the table while mine stayed folded inside me. When I asked for extra math tutoring in middle school, Mom sighed that money was tight because Ryan needed new cleats. When I got accepted to the University of Georgia on a full scholarship, Dad's only comment was, "Guess someone has to leave Florida." So I did. The day I turned 22, I packed everything I owned into my beat-up Civic and drove north on I-75 until Tampa was just a glow in the rearview mirror. Atlanta gave me the first real breath I'd ever taken without someone else's shadow on my face. I started as a junior analyst at a commercial real estate firm downtown, crunching numbers on apartment complexes and strip malls, learning how deeds work, how trusts work, how ownership can be moved quietly and permanently when someone knows what they're doing. I still came home, but only when Grandma Margaret asked. She was the one person who never compared me to Ryan, never asked why I couldn't just be happy here, like your brother. She'd sit on her screened porch overlooking the bay, silver hair twisted up with a pencil, and listen to me talk about cap rates and lease abstracts like they were poetry. Some weekends she'd hand me the keys to one of the rental houses and tell me to walk through it alone, feel the weight of real ownership even if nobody else knew it yet. Those visits were my oxygen too. She never once called me the smart one or the independent one the way relatives did when they wanted to sound nice. She just looked at me, really looked, and said things like, "You see things clearly, Tegan. That's rarer than money." When I left on Sunday nights, she'd press a cold, sweet tea into my hand and remind me the drive was only 9 hours, not a lifetime. Everyone else stopped noticing when I was in the room. Phone calls from Mom shrank to texts about holidays. Dad only called if Ryan needed help closing a deal on one of the properties. I became the daughter who did her own thing, which in our family meant the one nobody had to invest in anymore. I didn't hate Ryan for it. Hate would have required energy I refused to give. I just accepted the rules. The way you accept humidity in July. You dress lighter. You keep moving. You don't waste breath complaining. Atlanta promoted me to senior property analyst 2 years ago. I bought a small condo in Midtown, filled it with plants that actually lived because nobody else was there to forget watering them, and built a life where my value wasn't measured against someone else's spotlight. The only tether left was Grandma Margaret. Every visit she grew a little thinner, a little quieter, but her eyes stayed sharp. She started asking more questions about trusts, about how assets could be protected from people who love too loudly and manage too loosely. I answered honestly because she was the one person who never used my knowledge to prop someone else up. She passed quietly 13 months ago. I drove home for the funeral, stood in the back of the church while Ryan delivered the eulogy everyone cried over, and felt her absence settle into my bones like a promise I didn't fully understand yet. That's who I was the day I walked back into the house in Tampa for the inheritance meeting, 31 calm, carrying 9 years of distance and one very old woman's unshakable faith in me. 3 years ago, everything changed without anyone knowing. 3 years ago, everything changed without anyone knowing. Grandma Margaret called me on a Tuesday evening and asked me to come down the following weekend, no explanation, just that she needed my eyes on something. When I pulled into her driveway in Old Northeast St. Pete, she was already waiting on the porch with 2 folders and a pot of coffee, strong enough to strip paint. She didn't waste time on small talk. She slid the first folder across the table and told me to read. Bank statements, rental income logs, expense reports for the 8 properties. The numbers didn't lie. Over the previous 18 months, more than $400,000 in rent money had vanished into categories labeled maintenance, emergency repairs, and management fees. Receipts were missing or photocopied so many times they were illegible. The handwriting on the few that existed matched Ryan's. She watched me flip pages, her mouth a thin line. I gave him access because he swore he wanted to learn the business, she said. Turns out he learned how to bleed it instead. I asked the obvious question, why not confront him? She shook her head. Because your parents would defend him. Say boys will be boys. Promise he'll pay it back someday. By the time someday comes, there'll be nothing left to pay back. That was the moment she opened the second folder. Inside were draft documents, a revocable living trust, naming her as trustee for life, and upon her passing, me as sole successor trustee and beneficiary of every single rental property, plus 8 quitclaim deeds ready to transfer title immediately. All she needed was my signature and 2 witnesses. She explained it like she was reading the weather. A living trust avoids probate, keeps everything private, no public filings until she's gone. Quitclaim deeds move ownership instantly and quietly. Once recorded, they're ironclad. The notary she trusted was coming Monday morning. No lawyers in the family would ever see the paperwork unless she wanted them to. I asked why me. She looked out at the water and answered without hesitation. Because you understand what these houses actually are, 32 families who pay rent on time so their kids can stay in the same school. You won't gamble that away on boats or parties or whatever new toy catches his eye this month. I tried to argue that Ryan would lose his mind when he found out. She cut me off. He doesn't get to find out until it's too late to undo. That's the whole point. We spent the rest of the weekend going over every detail. She walked me through the trust language, showed me where to sign, made sure I understood that once the deeds were recorded at the county, the houses were legally mine, whether anyone liked it or not. She even had me initial every page, so there could never be a claim I didn't know what I was agreeing to. Monday morning, the notary arrived at 9 sharp. We signed in the dining room while the ceiling fan clicked overhead. Grandma Margaret's hand didn't shake once. When the notary left, she poured us both a finger of bourbon, even though it wasn't noon yet, clinked her glass against mine, and said, "Now it's done." And now we shut up about it. She made me swear on her parents' graves that I would never breathe a word until the day came when someone tried to take what was no longer theirs to give. I gave her my word. We burned the extra copies in the outdoor fireplace that night and watched the smoke curl up into the palms. For the next 2.5 years, nothing looked different on the surface. Ryan kept collecting rent checks and bragging about his portfolio. Mom and Dad kept praising how responsible he'd become. I kept driving down from Atlanta every couple of months, checking on tenants when Grandma asked fixing what actually needed fixing instead of inventing reasons to spend. Nobody noticed the county records now listed the owner of record as Tegan Whitaker because nobody ever bothered to look. Grandma's health started slipping faster after that. She spent more days in bed, less on the porch, but every time I visited, she asked the same question. Still our secret, I always answered yes. It became our ritual, 2 words that meant everything. The last time I saw her alive, she gripped my hand so hard her ring cut into my skin. Remember, she whispered paper beats promises every single time. Then she smiled like someone who just won a bet nobody else knew was on the table. 7 months ago, right after Grandma's funeral, Mom called and asked me to stay an extra day. "We need to talk about the properties," she said, voice soft, like she was breaking bad news. "Everyone's coming to the house tomorrow." I knew what that meant. The whole family circling the estate before the will was even read. I almost said no, but something in her tone sounded final, so I agreed. The next afternoon, the dining room looked like a board meeting. Dad sat at the head, sleeves rolled up, legal pad in front of him. Ryan lounged to his right, legs stretched out, already acting like the new landlord. Mom kept refilling coffee, nobody drank. A stack of documents waited in the center, crisp and official. Dad pushed the top page toward me. "It's just a simple waiver," he started. "We're keeping everything in the family, but to avoid any confusion down the road, we need you to sign that you're not expecting a share of the rentals." I glanced at the title, Waiver of Inheritance Interest, Real Property. 8 addresses listed neatly below. My pulse stayed steady. I'd seen worse surprises. Mom jumped in before I could speak. "Sweetheart, it's only paperwork. Ryan's staying here handling everything day to day. It makes sense for him to have full control. This just keeps things peaceful." Ryan smirked, spinning a pen between his fingers. "Yeah, Tegan. Nobody wants lawyers involved. Sign it and we're good." I slid the paper back an inch. "I'm not signing anything." The room temperature dropped. Dad's eyebrows shot up. Mom's hand froze on the coffee pot. Dad recovered first. "Come on, don't be difficult. This isn't about taking anything away from you. It's about clarity." I looked him straight in the eye. "I won't sign away what Grandma intended for me." Silence. Ryan stopped spinning the pen. Mom tried the emotional route. "Your grandmother wanted the family taken care of. She'd hate to see us fighting." I didn't blink. "She's not here to see anything, is she? And I'm not fighting. I'm just not giving up my rights." Dad leaned forward, voice lowering the way it used to when I was 10 and late for curfew. "Tegan, we're trying to do this the easy way. Ryan's put years into those houses." I almost laughed. Years of putting money into his own pocket, maybe. Ryan finally spoke, irritation cracking through the casual act. "You live in Atlanta. You don't even want them. Why make this hard because they're not yours to give?" I said. Mom's eyes welled up on cue. "We just want everyone happy. After everything we've been through, losing Mom?" Classic move. Bring up the recent death, make refusal feel cruel. I stood up. "I'm sorry you're upset. But I'm not waiving anything." Dad slapped the table hard enough to rattle the cups. "This is ridiculous. You're acting like we're stealing from you." I picked up my keys. "No. I'm acting like someone who knows exactly what's hers." Ryan stood too, face red. "You're being selfish." Typical. I walked to the door and paused just long enough to deliver one line. "Selfish is thinking you can erase someone's wishes with a signature because it's convenient." Mom called after me, voice cracking. Tegan, please don't leave like this. I didn't turn around. I'll see you when you're ready to respect what Grandma actually wanted. The screen door slammed behind me. I heard Ryan mutter something about me always playing the victim, Dad telling him to calm down, Mom starting to cry for real this time. I got in my car, rolled the windows down, and let the hot Florida air hit my face the entire 9-hour drive back to Atlanta. They spent the next weeks convinced I was throwing a tantrum. Group texts about healing and moving forward as a family. Dad left 2 voicemails that got progressively angrier. Ryan sent a single message, "Grow up." I didn't reply to any of it. Instead, I printed fresh copies of the recorded deeds, filed them in a fireproof folder, and waited. I knew they were busy drafting whatever story made them the heroes and me, the problem child who couldn't let go of a grudge. They had no idea the grudge wasn't mine to let go of. 2 weeks ago, the invitation arrived in my mailbox in Atlanta. Thick cream cardstock gold border, formal celebration of Margaret Whittaker's legacy, printed in raised lettering. Inside was a note in Mom's perfect cursive, "Please join us to honor Grandma's wishes and celebrate the future of the family properties. Saturday at 3. We've missed you." I knew exactly what it was, the victory lap they thought they'd earned. The group chat exploded the same day. Ryan posted a selfie in front of one of the rental houses with the caption, "Big things coming for the Whittaker portfolio." Brooke commented heart emojis and, "So proud of my future husband." Aunts and cousins liked every word. Someone even joked Tegan better show up this time. I didn't reply, but I cleared my weekend and packed the rolling suitcase I usually take on business trips. Inside went 3 labeled folders, color-coded tabs, and a flash drive with every recorded document scanned in high resolution. I zipped it shut, loaded the car before dawn on Friday, and pointed south on I-75 for the 9-hour drive I could now do with my eyes closed. The closer I got to Tampa, the thicker the tension felt, even through the windshield. Billboards gave way to palm trees, then to the familiar exit signs. Every mile marker reminded me why I'd left and why I was coming back now. I stopped once for gas outside Ocala and checked my phone. 23 new messages in the family thread, all variations of excitement about Ryan stepping up. Dad sent a private text, looking forward to putting everything behind us. I left it on red. By the time I crossed the Howard Franklin Bridge, the bay sparkling under afternoon sun, my stomach had settled into the cold calm I get before closing a multi-million-dollar deal. I wasn't nervous anymore. I was ready. I pulled into the old neighborhood just after noon on Saturday. Cars already lined the street. Cousins from Orlando, Uncle Ray from Naples, the property manager who'd been sending rent checks to the wrong person for years. White tents dotted the backyard, caterers unloading trays of shrimp and mini crab cakes. A bartender set up under the oak tree. This wasn't a meeting. It was a coronation. Mom spotted me from the driveway and hurried over in heels and pearls, arms open like nothing had happened. "You made it. Everyone's asking about you." She hugged me too tight, perfume clouding the air. Dad followed, clapping my shoulder with that forced heartiness men use when they're pretending everything's fine. "Good to have the whole family together," he said, eyes flicking to the suitcase in my hand. Ryan appeared on the porch with Brooke glued to his side, both holding mimosas. He lifted his glass in a mock toast. "Look who decided to grace us with her presence." Brooke giggled and whispered something that made him laugh louder. A few cousins waved awkwardly. Most pretended not to notice the chill between us. Inside, the house smelled like lemon polish and ambition. Framed photos of Ryan shaking hands with tenants lined the entry table. A blown-up copy of the county tax map sat on an easel, red circles around all 8 addresses. Someone had even printed glossy brochures titled "The Whittaker Family Rentals, A New Era." I wheeled my suitcase straight through the living room and parked it beside the couch, right in everyone's line of sight. Mom's smile faltered for half a second. Dad cleared his throat. Ryan raised an eyebrow but said nothing. People kept arriving. The family attorney, Mr. Hargrove, shook hands and accepted congratulations like he'd already filed the paperwork. Tenants who'd been invited as a courtesy milled around looking confused, but happy for free food. Childhood friends of Ryan slapped his back and asked when the closing date was. I made small talk when cornered, accepted a bottle of water, and watched the room fill with certainty that the story had already been written. Every congratulation aimed at my brother landed like another brick in the wall they thought would keep me out. Brooke floated past in a sundress diamond on her left hand, catching every light. "This is going to be our future," she told a cluster of ants, gesturing at the brochures. 8 steady income streams before we even say I do. Ryan beamed, arm around her waist, accepting praise like it was his birthright. I stood by the window, suitcase handle still in my grip, counting faces. 32 people, give or take. Enough witnesses that no one could claim later they didn't see what was coming. The living room was packed when Ryan finally stood up. Champagne flute raised, high voice, carrying over every conversation like he'd rehearsed it for weeks. "I just want to thank Mom and Dad for trusting me with Grandma Margaret's legacy," he began, flashing that practiced grin. "As of today, all 8 rental properties are officially under my name. The family tradition continues stronger than ever." Glasses lifted, cheers rippled through the room. Someone shouted to Ryan. A cousin started clapping, and the rest followed until the sound bounced off the walls. I waited until the noise peaked, then rolled the suitcase forward, wheels clicking across the hardwood. Every head turned. The clapping died mid-air. I stopped beside the coffee table, clicked the latches, and flipped the lid open. 30 pairs of eyes locked on the neat stacks inside. Dad found his voice first. "Tegan, what is this?" I didn't answer him yet. I pulled out the first quitclaim deed, held it up so the notary seal caught the light, and laid it face up on the table. Then the second, third. 8 in total, each bearing Grandma Margaret's bold signature and the raised seal of the Pinellas County Clerk. Next came the Revocable Living Trust, thick and bound successor trustee section highlighted in calm yellow. I placed it on top like a period at the end of a sentence. Only then did I look at Dad. "You really forgot this existed, didn't you?" The color drained from his face so fast I thought he might drop. Mom's hand flew to her mouth. Ryan stared at the papers like they were written in another language. Mr. Hargrove, the family attorney, stepped forward, adjusting his glasses. He picked up the trust, first flipped to the signature page, then to the schedule of assets listing every address. His fingers moved faster as he cross-checked the quitclaim deeds against the county stamps. He looked up slowly. "These are recorded," he said, voice flat. "All of them. 3 years ago. Tegan is the legal owner of record. There is no probate interest left to distribute." You could hear ice melting in forgotten glasses. Ryan lunged for the documents. "That's impossible. Grandma was sick. She didn't know what she was signing. Mr. Hargrove didn't hand them over. I notarized similar documents for Margaret myself. The handwriting matches. The notary is licensed and present in the county records. These are binding." I finally spoke again, calm and clear. Grandma knew exactly what she was doing. She made sure the houses went to someone who would protect the tenants, not bleed them. Dad tried to stand, sat back down hard. "She never told us." "No," I said. "She didn't." Ryan's face twisted. "You hid this the whole time. You let us plan everything. I let you plan what you thought was yours." I cut in. "Grandma asked me to wait until someone tried to take what she'd already given away. Today seemed like the day." Mr. Hargrove closed the trust with a soft thud that sounded final. "Legally, the matter is settled. The properties belong to Tegan. End of discussion." Aunts shifted in their chairs. Cousins exchanged glances. The property manager, who'd been congratulating Ryan 5 minutes earlier, now looked like he wanted to disappear into the carpet. Mom found a whisper. "How could you do this to your own brother?" I met her eyes. "I didn't do anything. Grandma did. I'm just the one following through." Ryan slammed his glass down so hard the stem snapped. Champagne pooled across the table, soaking the corner of one deed. I didn't flinch. "You think you've won?" he spat. "I didn't come here to win," I said. "I came here to make sure her wishes were respected." The room stayed frozen. No one moved to clean the spill. No one moved at all. Brooke's glass slipped from her hand and shattered on the floor. Champagne spraying across the shoes and ankles. She didn't bend to pick up the pieces. She just stared at me, mouth open, then at Ryan, then back at the papers. Without a word, she grabbed her purse, pushed past two cousins, and walked straight out the front door. The screen slammed behind her. Nobody went after her. Ryan's face went from red to purple. He snatched the living trust from Mr. Hargrove's hands and started flipping pages wildly. "This is fake," he shouted. "She forged it. Grandma was on painkillers the last year. She didn't know what day it was." Mr. Hargrove took the document back, calm as ever. He turned to the signature page and began reading aloud, slow and deliberate. Article 4, Section 2. Upon the death of Margaret Whittaker, all real property listed in Schedule A shall pass immediately to successor trustee Tegan Whittaker, free of probate. He kept going, voice steady, every clause another nail. When he reached the notary acknowledgement and the recorded dates, Ryan's yelling faded into heavy breathing. From the corner by the hallway, Dylan stepped forward. My middle brother, the quiet one who'd spent years blending into walls, spoke for the first time all afternoon. "She's telling the truth," he said. Every head swiveled. "I was there the day Grandma signed. She asked me to drive her to the notary because she didn't want Mom or Dad knowing. I waited in the car. She came out smiling." Ryan spun toward him. "You knew and didn't say anything." Dylan met his glare. "She made me promise the same thing she made Tegan promise. Some promises matter more than keeping the peace." Mom crumpled onto the couch, hands over her face, shoulders shaking. Dad looked 10 years older in 10 seconds. He slid down to his knees right there on the rug, reaching toward me like I was the last solid thing in the room. "Tegan, honey, please. We didn't know. We can fix this. We'll redo everything. Just don't take it all away from your brother." His voice cracked on the last word. Tears ran down his cheeks, real ones this time. Mom reached for my hand, mascara streaking. "We thought we were doing what was best for the family. We thought Ryan needed it more. You're doing so well on your own." I pulled my hand back before she could grab it. "This was Grandma's decision, not mine." Ryan lunged again, this time at me. Dylan moved faster, stepping between us, one palm on Ryan's chest. "Back off," Dylan said, low and firm. Ryan stopped, breathing hard, fists clenched but useless. Aunts and uncles stood frozen, some with phones half raised, recording, others looking at the floor. The property manager slipped out the side door without saying goodbye. The caterers hovered in the kitchen doorway, unsure whether to keep serving or start cleaning up the mess that had nothing to do with spilled drinks. Dad stayed on his knees. "We'll sell the boats. We'll take second mortgages. Whatever it takes to make this right." Mom sobbed louder. "We're so sorry. Please don't hate us." I looked at both of them, then at Ryan, shaking with rage, then at Dylan, standing steady beside me for the first time in our lives. "I don't hate you," I said. "But I'm done fixing things for people who never saw me as part of the solution." I closed the suitcase, latched it, and set the handle upright. Mr. Hargrove cleared his throat. "I'll prepare the necessary notices to all tenants and financial institutions first thing Monday. Ownership transfer is already complete. This is purely administrative." Ryan made a sound like a wounded animal. Mom wailed into a throw pillow. Dad just stared at the floor. I picked up my keys. 3 months later, the dust had settled, but nothing was the same. 3 months later, the dust had settled, but nothing was the same. Ryan's name disappeared from every lease, every bank account, every vendor contract tied to the 8 properties. Tenants started receiving new payment instructions with my name at the top. Most of them never even noticed the change. Rent stayed the same, repairs got done faster, and nobody tried to charge them for fake roof work anymore. The IRS notice arrived the week after the meeting. Turns out years of writing off personal vacations as property inspections and new trucks as maintenance vehicles finally caught up. They froze what was left of Ryan's accounts and slapped a lien on anything still in his name. He lawyered up with money he didn't have and lost anyway. The final penalty came in at just over 6 figures. He's still paying it off on a payment plan that will follow him for years. Mom and Dad put the big house on the market 30 days later. The boats went first, then the jet skis, then Mom's jewelry collection. They moved into a 2-bedroom condo near Carrollwood, with a view of a parking lot instead of the bay. Dad took early retirement because the stress gave him heart palpitations. Mom started working part-time at a boutique to cover groceries. They stopped hosting holidays. Nobody felt like celebrating. Brooke sent back the ring by mail, no note. Ryan moved into a studio apartment downtown and took a job selling cars on Dale Mabry. He still drives past the rentals, sometimes slows downstairs, then speeds off when he sees my management sign in the yard. Dylan texts me every couple of weeks. Just short check-ins, nothing heavy. He's the only one I answer. He says the rest of the family talks about me in past tense like I died instead of Grandma Margaret. I tell him that works for me. I stayed in Atlanta. The rental income covers my mortgage and then some. I hired a local management company run by women who actually return calls within an hour. Vacancies dropped, tenant satisfaction went up, and every month the numbers land in my account clean and quiet. I bought 2 more properties last quarter, smaller deals, but mine, from day one. Not a single family member has tried to reach me directly. No letters, no emails, no drive-by visits. The last voicemail I got was from Mom 2 months ago, crying, asking if I'd come for Christmas. I didn't call back. I deleted it and blocked the number the same day. Some nights I sit on my balcony in Midtown city lights below and think about the little girl who used to beg for math tutoring while her brother got new cleats. That girl learned the world rewards the loudest voice in the room until someone finally decides to speak with proof instead. Blood doesn't guarantee loyalty. It never did. The only thing that ever protected me was an old woman who saw the future clearly enough to put it in writing, and a promise I kept when it mattered most. I still have the fireproof folder. Every deed, every trust page, every recorded stamp sits inside it on the top shelf of my closet. I don't look at it often. I don't need to. The houses pay the bills, the tenants stay happy, and my phone stays silent from anyone who once called themselves family. Grandma Margaret was right. Paper beats promises every single time, and some doors, once you close them, stay closed for good. If you've ever had to choose between the family you were born into and the peace you built yourself, tell me in the comments where you're watching from tonight. Because sometimes the hardest thing isn't walking away, it's refusing to walk back.